And we are on. Super, super, super. Okay, so it is on the hour, and thank you for joining me for this Express webinar. The whole point of this Express webinar is to get you up to speed in the shortest possible time to understand how Facebook ads work. That's what we're going to be going through. Now, can I just quickly mention, I'd like to make one thing super clear. It is quite possible to spend almost forever immersing ourselves in Facebook ads. And if you've looked at Facebook ads before yourself, you probably know this for yourself. They're always adding new things and tweaking new things, allowing for an even richer and deeper experience for us end users. I like to keep things simple, as I'm sure you know, and whereas there are loads of levers and buttons and things that we can do within Facebook ads, essentially, really, all we want to do is use Facebook ads to generate traffic. So that's really what this Express webinar is about, how to get started with Facebook ads. And we will create a Facebook ad as well. And in future Express webinars, excuse me, I will be digging deeper into some more advanced or certainly intermediate tactics with Facebook advertising. But for this Express webinar, how to get started. So you are in the right place right now. If you'd like to understand how Facebook ads work, you know, because we're hearing it everywhere, look at their share price and their results, that Facebook ads clearly work, but you're not sure how they work, so we'll be going through that. You'd like to see the whole creation of a Facebook ads set up step by step. We're going to go and do that in about 8 minutes time from now. I'm literally going to go through it step by step. It's always the best way to learn anything, I feel. See somebody doing what it is you want to understand. And you understand that Facebook ads can be very powerful, but you're unsure really, and maybe a little bit nervous about how to start. If any of these three points sound like you, then congratulations for giving up this half an hour. You are in the right place. So what we're going to cover in the next 30 minutes is we're going to go, as I just mentioned, and create a Facebook ad in a specific subject matter. We'll go and do that very, very soon. I also want to cover what's probably the most important element of Facebook advertising. In fact, there are two important elements that a lot of people don't quite get right. Once you understand these two, it makes creating effective Facebook advertising so much easier and, frankly, let's be honest here, more fun. And we're also going to talk about what the Ads Manager is and how it works. So that's the plan. Can I just check, excuse me, that you can hear me okay? And that you're feeling good, and let's just keep an eye on the time, and that we're 3 minutes in, and just want to check everything's okay. Good. Welcome, wonderful. Exciting, says Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Looking forward to this, Chris. Terrific. Thank you, says Stan. So, with all that said, let's carry on. Let's very quickly talk about the basics of Facebook advertising, okay, because there are a couple of basics that I want to sort of be clear on before we move forward. So the first thing that I want to define is a term that you may even know the definition of, and you will certainly hear a lot of the time when it comes to creating your own Facebook ads, and that is placement. Let's quickly define what placement is. As I say, you may know this already, but it is important, so let's just cover it all the same. Placement, quite simply, and if you're making notes, you may want to make a note of this, placement quite simply means where your ad will appear on Facebook. Where will your actual ad that we're about to go and create in a few moments, where will it appear? There are only two places that our ads can appear. Firstly, the news feeds. That's our first option. Secondly, what's known as right-hand side ads. Some people just call them sidebar ads. But when it comes to placement, these are the choices we have. We can have them appear in one, both. One thing that's also worth mentioning is that there is no right-hand side option on mobiles. And a lot of people, of course, view Facebook on a mobile. So it's important for us to realize that and know that, therefore, on a mobile device, you will only have newsfeed ads that will be displayed to somebody because there is no right-hand side on your cell phone. Is there? When you scroll through the newsfeed, there's nothing on the right-hand side. There just isn't space. So no right-hand side ads on a mobile device. That's what placement is. Where will our ad appear? We'll come back to that in a few moments' time. Another basic I want to cover is that every ad is linked to a fan page. Now, what this means is before we can even create an ad, we have to have a fan page. Now, to create a fan page, if you don't have one, it takes about 60 seconds. I'm not going to go through that right now. It's very, very simple. You could create a fan page and have 0 fans. It doesn't matter how many fans or likes you have on your fan page. You could create a fan page that's brand new Once it's created, then when we create our ad, you'll see that we are asked for which fan page do we want to link it to. You'll see what I mean when we go and create the ad in a few moments' time. The only other basic that I want to talk about, apart from the placement and the fact that we need a fan page, is the two most important elements. I mentioned a few moments ago that this really is where the secret sauce of successful Facebook advertising, this is what it comes down to. The two most important elements that you need to get good at the end of the day, having a successful ad or having a dud ad comes down to these two things. They are as follows. Firstly, your image. Secondly, your targeting. That's it. And we'll define what targeting means. In fact, let's do that right now. Good Facebook advertising comes down to having a good image, which is self-explanatory. And if you're thinking about where do I get the image from? You're one step ahead of me. Don't worry, I'm going to cover that in about 12 minutes from now. We also need some good copy, some good wording, a good headline to go with the image, but we'll come to that in a few moments' time. But the magic, apart from the image, is in the targeting. And the targeting means we want to make sure that our ad that we're about to create is only put in front of people who are interested in our subject matter. That is the key thing. Targeting is the secret sauce. It's why Facebook advertising done correctly is extremely powerful. To put it simply, the power of Facebook ads is found within the targeting, and success and failure will be determined on how well you are able to zero in on the audience that will respond to your message. We do this through the targeting. So what does targeting exactly mean? Targeting means once we have an image, once we've created a headline, we can then choose who sees this ad based on their interests, based on their location, based on their demographics. So I always like to personally learn through examples. Let me throw out a quick example. Imagine you're a personal trainer based in, let's say, Austin, Texas. I know there's someone on this call from Austin, Texas. So let's imagine that scenario. So you're a personal trainer, okay? That's you. You're based in Austin, Texas. You want to drum up a few new clients. All you would do is you would create a good-looking image, which we'll come on to, and then through good targeting, which we'll also come on to, we will only allow people to see your ad that, for example, live in this example, Austin, Texas. Maybe of a certain age. You might want to target people that are just in their 30s, men or women. But it gets much, much more exciting than that because we can also target people who have expressed an interest in, for example, keeping fit, or maybe somebody who subscribes to Men's Health or Women's Health magazine. You can also choose to only show your ad to people that have already spent money online. How powerful is that? That's known as their behavior. Or who live within a 10-mile radius of where you are, if what you're advertising is geographically specific. So once we start to look at targeting, I think you will get really excited at how specific we can get. And the great thing about this is that we will only be spending money on ads that will only show to people that are interested in what we do in the first place. And we haven't, I mean, I really am scratching the surface here. We haven't really even begun to dig down deep into targeting, but mark my words, it will, excuse me, it will amaze you what we can achieve. So why don't we, he says, looking at the time, so we're 9 minutes in, we've got about 20 minutes left on this Express webinar. Should we go and create an ad step by step? And I'll go through all the components and let's go and do it together in real time. Now that we understand that we need an image and targeting, we understand what placement is, and we understand that we need a fan page. That's really all we need to understand. So how are we feeling so far? Let me just quickly have a 15-second check-in with you, because I never want to speak at you. I just want to do, yippee, says Linda. Great, great, Chris. Feeling good, ready to go. Fabulous. Okay, and well done for committing to being here, to learning this. As I said at the very beginning, in fact, maybe I didn't say this. Maybe I'm imagining I said this. But I always remember a quote from Jim Rohn who said we get paid for how much value we bring to the marketplace. So anything that we can do to increase our value, which essentially means continual education, educating ourselves, is always going to be a good use of our time. So well done on educating yourself by being here. Let's jump to the book of face. Can you see my Facebook account? We're looking at my personal profile right now. Just want to make sure that you can see this okay. And I will zoom in. Yes, Homer, says Diego. That's Madge Simpson, not Homer. She'll be furious with you, Diego, for for getting her sex wrong. Let me zoom in a little bit as well. Right, okay, so when we log into Facebook, we want to go to our newsfeed. Well, that's the first thing we see when we log in anyway. So I'm just clicking on my newsfeed up here by clicking on Home. And what we are about to do right now is we're going to access an area of Facebook that you might have seen before called the Ads Manager. The Ads Manager is, as the name suggests, this is where we can create and manage and edit all our ads. Now, as a slight aside, there's also something else called the Power Editor that you've probably heard of, but we're not even going to talk about right now. And frankly, and I know this might go against the grain of what you may have heard before, you don't really need to know the Power Editor. The Power Editor is really for advanced marketers. It's if you're doing a lot of ads, if you want to edit a lot of ads. Yes, there are some cool things in Power Editor that Ads Manager do not allow, but I have a relationship with quite a few guys at Facebook themselves, and they've said to me that 95% of people that run Facebook ads do it all through the Ads Manager. So hopefully that will help you think, gosh, do I need to learn the Power Editor as well? No, you don't. You really don't. And I run all my ads through Ads Manager. Most people I know do as well. So we can access Ads Manager on the left-hand side by clicking where it says Ads Manager. Or if you've never created an ad, you won't see that link until you, for the first time ever, click here. It's a little drop-down arrow at the top, and there'll be a link that says Create Ads. So the very first time, if you've never created an ad, you'll be asked to input some data about yourself, your credit cards. So obviously, you know, they can bill you. But I've done that already. So I'm going to click on Create Ads here, and I'm now taken to, actually, do you know what? I beg your pardon. I don't want to go to Create Ads. I want to go to Manage Ads. Manage Ads, not Create Ads. Let's click on Manage Ads. And I'm taken to this scary looking page here. The first time you see your Ads Manager, it does look scary. There's lots of data, lots of stats, lots of metrics. You know, it does look overwhelming. You don't need to worry about any of this. For now, we're not even going to concern ourselves with this. Essentially, anything you do on Facebook is duplicated here. And we can, if we want to, turn it into an advert. So any post you put on your fan page will be listed here. And if we want to, we could turn that into an advert, as well as ads that we actually create ourselves. So don't be put off by how overwhelming this may look. So this is the plan. We are going to go and create an ad right now, and we are going to use the ad to send traffic to a website. That is 99% of the time, most times, what we are going to want to do. Now, I'm not going to talk about the web page that we're going to send people to and what happens when somebody signs up at our web page. I recommend sending to a landing page rather than the sales page, because remember, people aren't on Facebook to buy stuff. It's not like Amazon or eBay or even Google to an extent. Facebook is called a social network for a reason. People are there are hanging out, they're playing games, they're communicating. So we're kind of disrupting their day by putting in front of them an ad that we know that they're interested in, but it's unlikely they're going to buy straight away. So we really want to send somebody to a landing page to build our list, and then through our list marketing, then convert that person into a customer. Not everybody will, but some certainly will. So let's create an ad. Now, top right-hand corner, Create Ad, this green button. Let's click on that. We'll then be presented with this page that we saw a second ago. And Facebook are offering us lots of objectives for what they call our campaign. Campaign is simply a posh word of saying what we are about to do. The ad that we're about to create is our campaign. And in this case, we want to send traffic to a web page. That's our campaign. We get various options here. I tend to mainly use the first one, send people to your website. That's by far the main one. There's a bit more advanced, something called increased conversions. We're not going to worry about that now. We can also get likes. For now, though, let's do what most of us do, most marketers do, and that is send people from Facebook to our websites. Let's click on send people to our website. Now, there are 4 steps here that we need to go through. And I'm just checking in on the time. Okay, we're okay for time. So the very first thing that we're asked for, and you may have seen this yourself if you've created an ad, is where do we want to send somebody to, the web page that we're sending somebody to. Because this Express webinar is essentially just a test, if you like, I'm not too worried for illustration purposes the website that I put in here. So I'm just going to choose any of my websites, and here's one of my websites, Chris Farrell Events /webinar. But that doesn't matter. The point is we just put in where we want some traffic to go to. Now, we can name this campaign something that looks a little bit more friendly than the campaign name that has automatically been populated. It's just pulled in the website. So I'm going to call this something like clicks to my website, and I also like to put the dates. In fact, I'm not going to put the date for now. I'm just going to put clicks to my website. That'd be fine for now. We can always change the campaign name at any time. Okay, now at 60 minutes past, so we're halfway through this Express webinar. Now let's start sprinkling some magic dust. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where the magic really takes place, in the targeting and the image, as we've discussed, and we're about to jump into this right now. So let's work through this step by step. Facebook do change this interface every now and again, as I'm sure you know. So let's start at the very beginning. Custom audiences, we're not even going to worry about these for now. This is something that's a bit more advanced, very powerful, but we're not going to worry about that. Let's go to locations, self-explanatory. Now, where do we want our ad to appear? People in which country? Now, an interesting little fact that I've recently learned is that Facebook will charge us less money if we only choose one country at a time. A lot of people put in United States, and then they'll put in, Canada and Australia. It doesn't really matter, but your ad would be a bit cheaper if you just choose one country at a time. And then if you want to have another ad aiming at another country, we simply duplicate the ad. That's very easy to do. That can be done with one click. So to keep it simple, I'm just going to keep United States for now. Age. Well, what we really need to do is decide our website. Now, let's go back to my website here. This is just for illustration, but let's imagine that our niche is, well, why don't you help me choose a niche? What should we choose as our subject matter? It'd be nice actually to do a niche that I'm not in, because I want to show you something, that's not something that I'm used to doing. So let's do health. Let's do health and fitness. That sounds fine by me, because health and fitness would be great, because I prepared a little bit of copy for an earlier thing I was testing. So let's just do health and fitness for now. Obviously hugely popular subject matter. So imagine we have a landing page that's about, let's say, losing weight, for example. So who are we aiming at age-wise? Let's imagine that we are aiming at, and this can all be changed at any time, but let's imagine we are aiming at 24 to, should we say 55? Let's say that for now. We're going to aim at gender. We're going to aim at all, men, women. Language. What language do we want those on Facebook to be their primary language for our ad? I suspect you'll probably be writing English, but you may be marketing at a Spanish market possibly, or if you're in France. I know we've got a few on this call from Paris, and you just want your ad to appear in France, and obviously we type French in there. So this is the basic demographics. Now, what I want to draw your attention to is, can you see over here on the right hand side, potential reach? This is something that a lot of people really kind of get bent out of shape over. Don't worry about this number at all. A lot of people do. What is important is that we have specific targeting that we're about to do that is related to our niche. And if we fill the targeting with many interests that are relevant to, in this case, get fit and health, the potential reach doesn't matter. I mean, that obviously is a lot of people, 108 million, but it doesn't matter. At the moment, we are creating an advert that will appear to anybody on Facebook in the United States between 24 and 55 that speaks English, and that's it. Obviously, that's hugely vague. So we are now going to make sure that we get more specific. This is where the magic happens, in the interests. It says here, Facebook can help us reach our specific audience by looking at their interests, their activities, pages they've liked, closely related topics. Now, what's interesting is, interests is Facebook's internal algorithms. So anything that we do on Facebook is logged as an interest, as opposed to a behavior, which I'll come on to in a few moments' time. For now, though, let's just think about some interests. So do you just want to type in the chat, somebody interested in keep fit, what will they be interested in? I'm just going to write keep fit. That's the obvious one. So I'm just going to click on keep fit here. Losing weight. Yep. Nice one. Losing. I'm trying to look at the questions or the comments as I type, which is Never a good idea. Losing weight. And as you can see, as I'm typing in on the right-hand side here, we've been told here that there's 10,450 people that have expressed an interest in, or they've liked pages related to losing weight. So it's giving us a rough indication of how many people this is interested to. So let me click on losing weight, healthy eating. Now here's a tip. Okay, healthy eating's not coming up at all, interestingly enough. Healthy, let's just put in health. Okay, maybe not. Let's put in, should we put in losing weight? Come on, let's think about this. Losing weight, keeping fit, healthy living, fitness and wellness, healthy living. There we go. Fitness and wellness. Now, as I was just about to share with you, a tip is we want to really populate as many interests as we can because we want to get really, really specific here. And ideally, what I like to do is I spend about 10, 15 minutes thinking about my niche and looking at magazines that those that are interested might subscribe to, TV shows that they might watch, just subject matters, just really let our imagination run wild. So let's type in exercise, physical exercise. Okay, now let's change that. Let's do weight loss. That's fine. Let's do physical exercise there. Okay. Let's put in. Should we put in? I was going to put in vegetarianism, but maybe not. Healthy living, keep fit, losing weight, physical exercise, weight loss. Should we try juicing? Juicing. Ideally, we really want to have about 20 or so interests in here. Meditation, that's quite an interesting one. Let's see. Meditation. It doesn't matter if some of them are slightly unrelated, generally, because what will happen is Facebook's very, very clever. Facebook will now pull out the interests that are most popular, and it will service the ad that we're about to create to that particular interest group. So, for example, if meditation, if we find actually nobody really is interested in meditation, Facebook will not serve our ad to anybody that has meditation, but to start off with it will, and then the ads that perform the best, it will start to serve more ads to those that have expressed an interest. And let's just put one more. Let's put green living, maybe. Green living. Don't know if that's really that applicable, actually, thinking about it. But okay, for now, that's fine. So what have we done here? We populated this with lots of different interests. Now, look at our potential reach. It's dropped dramatically, but it's still a very healthy number, 34 million. So 34 million people on Facebook between these ages in the United States of all genders have expressed an interest in either green living, healthy living, ice cream. I didn't notice. I clicked on that. Did you notice that? Let's get rid of that. Keep fit, losing weight, meditation, physical exercise, weight loss. Okay, 32 million. Is the number. So now the ad that we're going to create, that's our potential reach. Now, obviously not 32 million people will see that ad. We'll see how many will see that in a few moments' time. Let's talk about behaviors for a moment. To start off with, Facebook advises us not to put any behaviors in here because behaviors, remember me saying interests are data that Facebook collect about us. Behaviors are data that Facebook buy from third-party providers. So there's nothing wrong with this at all, but what is good to have a good baseline is just to use interests to start off with and just to get some traction with your ads just using interests, and then we can come back and then we can refine our ad and then we can have behaviors if we want. So we're going to leave behaviors blank for now. Connections we're going to keep on all. Now let's scroll down a little bit further here. Notice here on the right hand side we're now having estimated daily reach. We're now being told that this ad that we're about to create is going to get an estimated between 3,100 to 8,200 people will see the ad. Doesn't mean, excuse me, they're going to click on it. It means that they're going to see it. This is telling us based on our budgets how many people we can expect to see our ads. So that's an awful lot of people that can see it. The estimated daily reach is really just to give us a rough indication of how many times our ad will be seen based on the interest that we chose up here and our budget. So let's choose a budget. It's at $5 a day at the moment. Let's put it up to $10 a day. And the estimated daily reach will change, as it has. So $10 a day, very, conservative budget. You can estimate that this amount of people will see your ad. Great. Let's talk about optimizing our ad. We chose what was known as clicks to website. That's absolutely fine. Let's keep it as clicks to website. There's something here called the ad sets. Now, this is something when we go back to our ads manager, this is just for kind of reporting purposes. What I like to do is just name my ad sets. What I tend to do is look at the interest. So let's say this is clicks to health website. If I knew the website itself, I'd put in the name. Interests. Let's put 7 interests. So when we see the reporting, we'll be able to see, oh yes, this was the ad that's got those 7 interests. I tend to list the interests. Actually, literally put green living, healthy living, keep fit, losing weight in the ad set name. But just for time, I won't do that right now. Okay, so Graham's asking 3 to 8 million people. It's going to cost us a lot. No, it's not, Graham. Everything is dependent on our budgets. We always control the budget at all times. So it's just dependent on our budget. So you don't need to worry about suddenly being billed loads. The people that got stung didn't understand that, and they would spend an awful lot of money straight away and not optimize their ads. So you always can control the budget. I recommend starting at $10 a day. Now, we talked about targeting, which we've already gone through. The image is the second most important thing. Now, you can upload an image. If you have one, it's automatically pulled in one from my website that we chose earlier. I'm just going to click the X to get rid of that. Or one of the many great things about Facebook is they have a relationship with Shutterstock, which is an online photo library where we can use their images for free. It's incredible. So if you don't have an image yourself, click on Browse Library. You'll see your images in there if you've used images. But if not, let's go to Stock Images and let's type in Keep Fit. And we will get presented with tons of images. Now, we can't download these. This is the only thing. We can't download these to add some copy ourselves. So if you want to actually personalize the image and have some writing on it, you'd actually have to go to Shutterstock and purchase the image. I think it's about $2 per image. There's a great site called Dollar Photo Club, as it sounds, where every image is $1. I use that all the time. But let's just choose one image right now, and I'm going to choose... in fact, let's just choose 2 very, very quickly. Let's choose a girl and a guy both doing push-ups. So I've chosen 2 images. They're going to populate here in my Ads Manager. If I click on Reposition, this will show me how the image is going to appear in the ad. So there's an image of a girl doing a press-up, and there's an image of a fella doing a press-up. Now, if we're marketing at those that are interested in Keep Fit, imagine we went back into the gender section, and we chose this ad just to appear to you ladies, and we chose this ad just to appear to the men. Do you think it would at least be of interest? Remember, the ad's only showing to people that have already expressed an interest in the subject matter in the first place. So let's choose both of those images for now. We have about 4 or 5 minutes left of this 30-minute Express webinar. Then I'm going to open up to some questions. So do you remember when we talked about Facebook basics? I talked about placements, we talked about the image, we talked about targeting, and I said you need to have a fan page. Here's where we need to connect with our Facebook fan page. So all we need to do is choose our fan page. I'll show you where this will actually be seen in a moment. Let me click on, here's my fan page. And here is the ad. I'm actually going to choose the other ad for now. There we go. There's the ad. So here's the ad. Now all we need to do is just write a tiny bit of copy. I'm getting all the guys going, no! I'm getting a tiny bit of copy, I'm getting a request for a headline. So we need to put a headline. I've actually created something just before. Super fit by the summer? Question mark. There we go. Now the headline can only be short. I think it's, I'm not sure how many characters it is. It did say that there a few moments ago, but it can only be a short headline. A little tip for you, it's always a great idea to ask a question in a headline. Always, it gets more clicks, it just does. So here's Super Fit by the headline, Super Fit by the summer. Let's add some text, some compelling text. This can only be 90 characters, so let me grab some text here. Again, we would, in real time, spend a bit more time going through the text. but I'm just going to write something very quickly here. Would you like to look the best you can in time for summer? Maybe I can make that text a little bit better. Actually, no, that's fine for now. We can choose a button to appear below the image. Let's choose Learn More. A little call to action button will appear. And also, if we click on Advanced Options, there's an option, if our ad appears in the news feed, to add some more copies. Let me add something more in there. Boom, new. Grab this free 4-step cheat sheet to looking your best in time for summer. So that would be assuming that at the page that we're sending somebody to, that we're giving away a free gift, which is a cheat sheet to looking the best in time for the summer. Okay, now, would you agree that kind of looks okay, really, doesn't it? If our ad's only going to appear for those that are interested in healthy living, keep fit, losing weight, meditation, that, now I think about it, I'd probably get rid of meditation. Let's get rid of that. Physical exercise, weight loss, and I'm going to get rid of green living as well. But certainly healthy living, keep fit, losing weight, physical exercise, weight loss, that ad would probably appeal to those, particularly if, he says, without wanting to sound sexist, particularly if I just chose this to appear to maybe females. So now, when it comes to placements, it's telling us here, here's the news feed. Remember I said we can have ads on the news feed or the right-hand side. So it's previewing how it looks in the news feed. We can see how it looks on the news feed on a mobile device. Nice little preview here. I mean, once we do it a few times, it's so much fun, isn't it? The right-hand side, remember I said we have the 2 places for placement. That's how it looks on the right-hand side. You can also have partner apps. These are apps and mobile devices that are part of Facebook's audience network. I'm not going to worry about those for now, and I'd recommend you don't either. In fact, to start off with, I would recommend just having newsfeed ads, but you can certainly test this. So let's do that. Let's remove right-hand column and let's keep mobile newsfeed on because, as I say, on mobile devices, we only have a newsfeed. So what have we done? Well, let's review our order. I'm not going to place this, but we've created an ad. We've decided it's only going to run to people in the US, sorry. These are the interests. That's the key thing, the targeting. We've defined a demographic age-wise. We've chosen a language. We've decided that it will only be shown placement-wise on the newsfeed on a desktop computer and a mobile device. It's a click to website. I named the ad set, so when in my reporting, which we're not going to cover in this Express webinar, back in the reporting I can see at a glance, particularly if you have lots of ads, which ad is which, so it's important to name it correctly. $10 a day, the ad will run indefinitely. We can change this at any time, anywhere, if we want the ad just to run for, a week. Choose a start date, choose an end date, etc., etc., etc. But the key thing here is, effective advertising comes down to having good targeting and a good image. Don't get too bent out of shape about the potential reach. 30 million people in the US have expressed an interest in our interests. That's great. With our budget and with the interest that we've just chosen, we can expect our ad to be shown between 4,800 to 13,000 times a day. Now, if you get a 2% click-through, which is about average. I get between 1 to about 6% click-through. What's that? In fact, let me quickly grab my calculator. So let's do the lower end. 4,800 times 2. That's 96 clicks a day. A day, this is a daily figure, 96 clicks a day you would get for spending $10. Beginning to see how this is powerful. 96 clicks a day. Now, of course, when you send those, so that's guaranteed clicks. That's traffic that is being sent to your website. It's costing you $10. You're getting on these metrics, 96. So it's less than what is it, 9 cents per click. Now, of course, when that traffic goes to your website, you want to make sure that your website grabs that lead. That's a separate conversation, how to create that funnel. If you use lead pages, they convert very, very well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is really what I wanted to go through in this Express webinar, how to get started with Facebook ads. It really is something, once the placement, once the targeting, once the imagery is explained, it really is something, once the budget is explained, it is something that you can get started with immediately if, of course, you have a web page to send somebody to. One thing I would like to share with you is that a lot of people say that, you can make great money using Facebook ads. I disagree with that. The money is not in the ads. The money is in the funnel, is where you're sending somebody to. If you're going to send somebody, we mentioned this earlier, direct to a sales page, it's unlikely that you will do that well with Facebook ads unless you're creating Facebook ads just for people that are on your list, which you can do. That's called a custom audience, but that's a separate Express webinar. So really what you want to do is you want to use Facebook as a lead generator to send traffic that's already interested in your subject matter to a landing page, and then your funnel, those emails that you've already created, that's where the conversion from somebody that signs up takes place into them becoming a customer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I like to be really respectful of time. I do want these Express webinars to be 30 minutes. I don't want to get a reputation of me saying they're 30 minutes and they're 50. So that's all for the content for this Express webinar. If you want to stick around and ask me some questions, you can, but I'm sort of not counting that as part of the 30-minute Express webinar, if you'd like. So I hope that makes sense. By the way, the recording of this, if you want to view this again, is available if you're a member at Chris Farrell membership. It's available within the members area, and that's where you can access this recording of this Express webinar. It will be there within a few hours of us finishing this webinar. So if you have to get back to your day, that's absolutely fine. You won't be missing any more content, but I am going to go through your questions, and I'm going to stick around for a wee bit as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free. And it's me moderating here today. Greg, my moderator, unfortunately couldn't make it, so I will have to scroll through these myself. So Jill is saying, is there a webinar on how to set up a fan page? Jill, there is actually. In fact, it's not even a webinar, it's a video. I have a video within Chris Farrell membership showing you how to set up a fan page, but it's very, very simple. Well, I shouldn't say that, Jill, should I? It's not fair when somebody says it's very simple to somebody that hasn't done it, because it's never that simple at first. But it's not complex, but there is a video within Chris Farrell membership, Jill, where I go through exactly how to set up a fan page. Oh, Sherry, great question. You accidentally spelt losing weight as I spelt it wrong. There's a surprise, Chris. And that brings up a brilliant question. Sherry's asking, if you targeted the interest with a misspelling, would that dramatically affect your ad reach? Yes, it would. So what I should have done is as follows. Let's go back here. So the other interests are spelt correctly. So losing weight, listen to me. No one, I thought that was odd. There was only 10,000 people. Well spotted, Sherry. So let's get rid of that. And let's put losing weight in. So it does pay, there you go, 1 million people. That's a little bit more. It does pay to, review your ad, which I didn't do for time-wise. So good call on that. Thank you very much for that, Sherry. You could also target, though, misspellings, in case people have, although thinking about that, nobody's going to like a page with a misspelling because the page wouldn't have been misspelled in the first place. It's slightly different on Google, where people might have specific searches that are misspellings, and people do create web pages with misspellings with that in mind. But no, you want to sort of get the spelling correct. So thank you for pulling that up. Roy Jones, you would split test between the man and the woman ads to see which one converted better, wouldn't you? If so, you would then concentrate on using the highest converting ad. Roy, absolutely. So the gist of this webinar was really to get started, but let me show you what you are talking about, Roy. So let me get rid of this ad because we're not going to actually place it. If I go back into my ads manager here, then you will see on the left-hand side there's something called reports, and I'll do a separate Express webinar about reporting. But the reporting here essentially tells you exactly what you're asking, Roy. Which ads are converting best, and it really digs down deep as well, which age, gender, demographics, all that sort of good stuff. So that's all in the reporting. So yes, you will get the metrics within Facebook very quickly. I mean, often within the same day you can see what's doing the best. Okay. Right, I'm just going to quickly look through the questions. So, interests versus behavior. Yes, so I mentioned earlier, behaviors are data that Facebook buy. And I've heard this from Facebook themselves. They said when you start creating a new ad, don't even worry about behaviors. Just laden up your ad with interests, because we need to sort of have a good grounding of what people are clicking on our ads. Then we can come back and we can stop certain ads that aren't working, and then we can add behaviors to our interests. But just start with interests. because that kind of loops back to what I said at the beginning. It's very easy using Facebook ads to never really start because you feel there's so many things to get your head around. And most of the successful marketers I know, just do a few things well. And that's the secret to life. So we just find our demographic, we get good interests, we get a good image, boom, we're off. Put on your budget so you're not going to get stung, and we're done. The link could be a product to Amazon. Yes, it could. It could be an affiliate link. As I say, I would hesitate because I don't think that many people are on Facebook that are looking to buy something. But if you're marketing to people that are already interested, maybe that are on your list, then yes, you certainly could send a link to an affiliate product or something on Amazon. Chris, is it best to build your list with this and do not use for one-time offers? Please advise. Yes, I certainly would say that. Again, it comes back to what I just mentioned. Facebook is a social network. It's called a social network for a reason. It's not like Amazon. Most of us, when we go to Amazon, are in a buying mindset, aren't we? We're going there to buy. When we go to Facebook, I doubt many of us are thinking, I wouldn't mind buying something. So we're sort of disrupting, we're interrupting. It's called interruption marketing, but it's done, pleasantly. We're interrupting people's days by putting in front of them things that we know that they're interested in. It's very clever reverse psychology, reverse marketing. But I doubt anybody's going to sell. The best litmus test I always think is yourself. Would you click on something on Facebook that you hadn't even thought about 2 seconds earlier, go to a sales page and buy? I doubt it. So don't waste your time or your money doing the same. It's much more powerful. As you know, I always talk about building your list. So send somebody to a landing page to build your list. If you're not sure how to build a landing page, go to Lead Pages or megaphoneapp.com. You get a great, nice looking one-page website, build your list, and then the marketing, the conversion takes place actually in your email marketing. So Debbie Fletcher, great webinar, Chris. Thank you, Debbie. What if I want to do an ad today, but I don't have my website ready yet? What do you suggest to do to promote a class I have coming up at the end of the month? I have a post on my fan page. Okay, Debbie. Well, you need to have your web page ready. You need to know where you want to send somebody to. So that will be your first thing to do, Debbie. So set yourself a goal, Debbie. Could you do that by 24 hours time? Could you have a web page created? That'd be fabulous. You'll feel great. Once you've got a web page, then boom, you can create an ad. Now, Debbie, you say something interesting in your question here. You say you've already got a post on your fan page. You've already got the fan page. Great. That post, Debbie, don't let me lose you here. That post that you've already made, Debbie, that could be an advert. Remember I mentioned earlier that anything on your fan page can be an advert. So we went and created a new ad just now, but I could have done, well, let me show you. Let me go to my fan page. And here's my fan page. So let me scroll down to, so this is something I posted yesterday. Just a nice image of George, one of my dogs. I was in the car with him. I take him to the vet, and we got a parking ticket. And it looks like George was driving here. So I just put this image on my fan page. Nothing to do with marketing. It's just kind of a nice, fun thing. Got lots of comments, lots of likes, all that sort of good stuff. But my point is, Debbie, it's a post on my fan page, just like yours is. So remember this here. Now, if I went back into my ads manager, I could go and create an ad using this post as the actual ad. And simply this would appear literally as an advert. It would just appear in people's news feeds. So that's what I would recommend you do if you're happy with your post to be turned into an advert. Or you can do what we did in this webinar. Go and create a new advert, and then that will get posted out on those people's news feeds that you choose through your targeting. Hope that helps. Great question. The questions are coming in quite fast here. Getting comments about George in my car. Lead Pages or who else? There's a great site called megaphoneapp.com. Megaphoneapp.com. Megaphone app. Brendan Burchard uses this, Frank Kern. Both nice chaps. Charlene Johnson, who I don't actually know, but it's like Lead Pages, but it's not as excuse me, maybe as well used as Lead Pages. So therefore, you kind of get templates that people aren't using. It's a bit of a secret, but it's great. It's made by the same guys that make Kajabi. It's a great. I use Megaphone and Lead Pages, so you might want to look at maybe Megaphone app, possibly. Right, let's just take. Oh, look, here's an example of an ad of mine. There we go, in a news feed. So, perfect example of what an advert looks like in a news feed there. Right, let's just quickly run through a few more questions. Richard asked a great question. How many days should one set out a promotion when starting out? What's a good structure for a beginner? Great question, Richard. The reason I ask that is a lot of people will do just one day. But I've heard, although I don't think Facebook will officially ever say this, that they like to sort of see loyalty. And they will, if they see that you place an ad for at least 3 days, they will kind of give you more love. So my advice would be either just run it indefinitely and remember to stop it after 3 days. But that, I've forgotten in the past, and when I've been traveling, I thought, oh my goodness, I forgot to cancel that. It's racking up $25 a day, which on its own isn't loads, although it's relative. But if you've got 4 or 5 ads running, that can quickly mount up. So I would say when you can choose the stop date, just put it for 3 days, Richard. That would be my advice to you. Sorry, I'm just looking at these questions here. What I might do is, on your estimation, how much does this created ad cost per day if activated? Well, I assume you mean how much is it costing you to run this ad that we created? Well, that will be your budget. So, and if it shows, 1,000 times and your budget was $10, my math is always terrible. What was that? That was, $10 per every time it showed, or impression as it's known. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take maybe a couple more minutes and then we will jump off. So Raina, great question. If I spent $25 on Facebook one day, okay, let's make sure we get this right. Raina's asking a brilliant question. If I spent $25 on Facebook, on a Facebook ad one day, would Facebook make sure that on another day, for another $25, the ad will be shown to other people? I should turn my phone off, shouldn't I? Or could the same people be bothered with it again? They will make sure it shows to other people, Raina. However, after a while, it can be shown to some of the same people again, as I'm sure you've seen yourself. That's known as frequency. But Facebook what they do is they look at all your interests, and within the interest, they then look at those people that are more active in that particular group. Because if there's 3 million people that like losing weight, not all 3 million people are probably going to be that active on Facebook. Some are going to be a lot more clicky, a lot more logging in more than others. Facebook then dig deeper within your interests and will only show your ad to those that they say, we'll never know for sure, they say are more active. That's why sometimes you'll see an ad 2 or 3 times, because you are perceived from the end user's point of view as being a more active person. But the general rule of thumb is, if you spend $25 one day on an ad and $25 a day on, even if it's on the same ad the next day, it will go to different people. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. So, where do I see how many clicks I get? There's many places. In the Ads Manager, for example. Let me show you some of my recent ads. So I don't know if you can see these here. So here's an ad I'm running at the moment where I'm just testing different interest groups. I'm calling it, remember me saying the importance of naming your campaign? I'm calling it landing page clicks. I put the date, I created it. I'm putting different interests. And look, it's had 334 clicks. And the average click is 53 cents, which is quite high. Well, I say it's high. My market is, essentially creating your own business, and that's quite a competitive market. But what I could then do, and I don't really want to dig into the Ads Manager too much now, but let me just show you because you did ask. If I then click on the campaign itself, and I click on the interests, here, see, it shows you all the different interests that I am targeting in this particular ad. But I don't want to overwhelm you with how it looks in the campaign manager, because the Ads Manager, because as I say, it can look a little bit scary the first time. Actually, I'm going to take a couple more questions because there are some great questions coming in. Linda's asking a brilliant question. Chris, do you think this will work for business to business? Absolutely, Linda. I think this will work better for business to business. What Linda means by that, in case you're unaware, if you're promoting to businesses as opposed to consumers. So yes, absolutely. And what works really well, Linda, is if you also have an engaged fan page, or you start building up engagement on your fan page, and then you start creating ads that only your fans will see because they have been proven to be more active. A lot of people will say, well, does it really matter even building likes on your fan page? Yes, it does, because those likes, those people will appear like they're the cream of when you create an ad. They'll be shown to those people more. Okay, so final question, if that's okay. Lisa, can you place the ads at a specific time of day, or is that preset for you? Yes, Lisa, you can place them. Do you mean for them to just appear at a specific time of day? The answer is yes. It's funny you asked that, Lisa. Do you remember me mentioning earlier the Power Editor? The Power Editor is another tool where we can also create ads. There's two tools to create ads, the Ads Manager that we're looking at now and the Power Editor. The Power Editor does allow a bit more advanced stuff. We don't really need it most of the time, but if you did want to day part, it's known, if you wanted to day part your ads or even have them only show on a certain day. For example, I had a webinar once where I only wanted the ads to show on Wednesday to Friday because the webinar was on Saturday. So I have to do that in Power Editor. And I'm not an expert in Power Editor, but it's not that difficult. I managed to work it out. Thank you, Lisa. My pleasure. Lovely. Nice to have you here. Right, chaps, I will let you run. Thank you very much for your time. Let me just remind you, the recording of this will be available at Chris Farrell Membership, and there will be more Express webinars coming up where we'll dig down even deeper. And if you ever have a particular topic you'd like me to dig down deep in, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to. Sherry, thank you, Chris. I've been trying to put an ad on for 2 days now. It's been the most valuable hour I've spent all week. Sherry, you're just an angel. It's my pleasure, darling. I totally understand that frustration. I had it myself when wanting to start. And so many people in this business that will tell you something and it sounds good and we kind of believe them because they say it authoritatively. I had a lot of misinformation when I started with Facebook ads. But I've really spent about probably close to a year now really digging down deep to, test and fail and understand. So hopefully this did help. There's a lot more stuff, by the way, I can share with you about Facebook ads, but it's very easy to overwhelm. And more importantly, I'm a little bit hungry now. And obviously, my lunch comes first, as we all know. So guys, been very, very super. Hope to see you within Chris Farrell Membership if you want more stuff like this, if you're not yet a member. Thank you for your time. Nice to hear from you all. Have a super rest of your day, whatever time zone you are in. I'm going to grab a coffee as well, Lisa. Good idea. And that's it for now. So this is Farrell signing off. Speak to you soon. Thanks for your time, guys. Bye.